The language of gods. How words shape reality in the depths of time, where shadow intertwines with light, not in opposition, but in the eternal dance of creation, lies a secret capable of overturning the very foundation of your existence. Words are not mere sound waves trembling in the air, but living, pulsating entities, archetypal forces, capable of molding matter with the precision of a cosmic potter and destroying worlds with the fury of a falling star. This is not a metaphor, but a forgotten topography of reality. Egyptian priests, whose knowledge permeated the stones of the pyramids, called it Heka, not simply magic, but the empowerment of the activity of Ka, where Ka is not a ghostly soul, but an energetic double, the skeleton of reality woven from vibrations. Eastern tantrics, immersed in the abyss of consciousness, discovered mantras not as prayers, but as acoustic keys unlocking the cells of space-time. Modern neurolinguistics, with its cold scanners, only timidly knocks at the door of the ancient temple, confirming what the sages knew. A word is both the architect and the earthquake of worlds, the seed and the sickle. The provocation of silence. Words die every second. New worlds are born. Silence is the scream of God, heard by science. It is not emptiness, but a saturated broth of unborn possibilities. Every moment of your silence is an act of choice, a refusal to create one reality in favor of countless others. Do not rush to dismiss this as the poetry of a madman, for tomorrow, in the liminal moment between sleep and wakefulness, you may feel how your own careless whispers shape the contours of your destiny as water wears down stone. The serpent biting its own tail, Ouroboros, the symbol of eternity and self-generation first, took form not in the alchemist Essing, but in the guttural spasm of the first human, when the sound Pe Raga burst forth and immediately turned inward, creating the first echo and the first loop of causality. Sound birthed echo, echo birthed meaning, meaning birthed the world. This is not a linear process, but an eternal vortex. What if the shadow cast by your words is longer and more sinuous than your physical body? Every uttered yes or no is not a choice, but a branching of world lines. You speak love with sincere reverence, and in a distant nebula, obeying strange synchronicity, a protostar ignites, its birth echoing in your genes millennia later. You whisper fear in the dark, and in a parallel stream of existence, a garden wilts, its death weakening the roots of your life's tree. Your words are not isolated islands, but currents in the ocean of the collective unconscious, where every drop affects the whole. Modern humans, drowning in the noise of information, have turned language into a worn coin, stripping it of its resonance with the primal source. We chatter, but do not create. We name, but do not call into being. Yet the echo of forgotten knowledge still resounds. There are keepers, bearers of the spark, who remember the true nature of the language of gods, the primordial logos, whose vibration carved galaxies and programmed DNA. This language is not a dictionary, but a living web of resonances. Historical enigma, Heka, mantras, and crystallized echo. In the temples of ancient Egypt, or torchlight animated hieroglyphs, turning them into dancing shadows, priests preserved knowledge of Heka, not merely a deity, but a fundamental principle of creative force permeating the fabric of existence. Its name is a key. Ka was depicted as a twisted flaxen thread, symbol of eternity and connection, and two raised hands, symbol of activation, transmission of power. But the depth lies in etymology. Heka meant he who activates Ka. Ka was not an abstract soul, but a subtle energetic double, the vital force, the individual matrix of existence, the link between humanity and the cosmic field. A word spoken with Heka did not describe Ka, it altered, amplified, or transformed its very structure, reshaping destiny at the level of code. The serpent biting its tail reappears here. The hieroglyph for Heka was often accompanied by an image of two intertwined snakes, uraeus. Coincidence? Or a hint at the dual, creative, destructive nature of the word force? The ancients saw what we are only beginning to grasp. A word is a spiral of energy. The serpent's form, self-sustaining, biting its tail, a feedback loop between intention and matter. In the coffin text spells 261, 648, a revelation resounds. Heka existed before duality arose. It was in Nun, the primordial ocean of chaos. This is a key to apocalyptic understanding. Before the division into I and not I, subject and object, there was the singular word, an undifferentiated creative potential, pure vibration. The splitting into languages, into names of things, was not progress, but a fall into the illusion of separation. The true power of Heka lies in returning to this pre-linguistic unity through ritual, where the word becomes a bridge back to the source. Heka did not act alone. It was an inseparable part of the triad of creation. Siao, divine omniscience, intuitive insight, the inner light of truth. Not intellectual knowledge, but direct, silent perception of the essence of things. The matrix of the possible. Hu, authoritative utterance, the creative work, the sonic embodiment of Siao. The act of selecting one possibility from the field of Siao and giving it sonic form. The architect of reality. Heka, activating force, magical energy, transforming the word Hu into manifestation. The catalyst transmuting vibration into form. Knowledge Xiao gives word Hu gives power Heka equals reality. Does not every conscious act of yours replicate this triad? You know Xiao, you want water. You formulate Hu, I'll get water. And you act Heka, reaching for the glass. The priests merely amplified and directed this natural mechanism to a cosmic level. But Egypt was not the soul keeper. In the high monasteries of Tibet, where the air is thin and consciousness purified, tantric adepts worked with bija mantras, seed syllables, Om, Rim, Klim. Vibrations considered the primary sonic patterns, underlying elements, and states of consciousness. The ritual of Nyasa, applying mantras to the body as a living map of the universe, turned the adept into a resonator capable of altering inner and outer space. In India, in the secret Guhya Samaja Tantra, practitioners used the Mala mantra, not mere repetition, but a complex alchemy of rhythm, tone, visualization, and breath pranayama, aimed at awakening Kundalini. The serpent power, Ouroboros again, at the base of the spine, whose ascent through the chakras transformed the practitioner at a cellular level. Is this not a direct analog to the Egyptian empowerment of Ka? What of the forgotten traditions of the West? Is it not a striking coincidence that modern science is beginning to touch the material foundations of this ancient knowledge? Neurolinguistics confirms certain sound patterns mantras, poetry induce brain hemisphere synchronization theta and gamma waves, activate areas responsible for emotion, memory, and self-perception, and can influence gene expression through stress responses. Is this not magic? Or is magic simply science yet to find full explanation? Scientific illusion, neuroquantum echo of the ancient logos. Imagine this. Every word you speak is not just air vibration, but a complex multidimensional phenomenon. Neural storm. Speech centers activate, but so do sensory and motor areas tied to the word's meaning. Say, fire neurons for heat, light, smoke, and flame motion ignite. Say, run, the motor cortex sends micro-impulses to your legs. A word triggers a miniature reality simulation in the brain. This is embodied cognition. Your body knows meaning through action and sensation neurons. Quantum ripples. Modern physics, for example. Von Neumann-Wigner interpretations of quantum mechanics. Suggests consciousness. Wave function collapse plays a key role in determining a specific reality from a spectrum of possibilities. What is observation, if not attention, often guided and shaped by inner speech? This is interesting. Collapse to observed versus this is nonsense, collapse to ignored. Your word is a command to the universe's quantum processor. Epigenetic echo. Studies, for example, Professor E. Rossi's work, show deep psychological experiences, especially speech-related. Therapy, hypnosis, affirmations can affect the epigenome, the system of gene activation, deactivation. A traumatic word can freeze immunity-related genes. A healing word can activate recovery genes. Your speech is the conductor of a genetic orchestra. Morphogenetic fields are Sheldrake, a hypothesis of invisible fields shaping system form and behavior. Could collective speech patterns, myths, prayers, propaganda create such fields, influencing group behavior, social trends, even ecosystems? Language as a collective reality programmer. The serpent biting its tail manifests fully here. Word gives neural pattern views. Emotion physical state gives epigenetic mark, gives altered reality, perception, gives new thoughts words. A closed loop, a feedback cycle. You are both programmer and program. The Egyptian creation myth of Ptah from Memphis declared, Ptah conceived with the heart, Sial and commanded with the tongue Hu, all that exists. Thus were born all things and all divine words. Shabaka stone. Heart here is not an emotional organ, but the center of consciousness, will, and intuitive knowledge soul again. The Shabaka stone clarifies. Sight, hearing, breathing, they report to the heart, and it brings forth all understanding. The tongue repeats what the heart has conceived. Sensory perception gives heart consciousness Siao, gives formulation in word. Hu gives manifestation Heka, a perfect schema. Does quantum physics not say the same? Reality exists as a spectrum of probabilities, CA's field, until consciousness heart interacts. Focused attention inner speech, intention and its verbalization. Hu collapsed the wave function into a specific event Heka, in action. The word is observation elevated to a creative act. What if your DNA's not just a code of life but a complex biological antenna? P. Garyaev's wave genome theories suggest DNA can receive, store, and transmit information via electromagnetic and acoustic waves. What if your ancestors' prayers, spells, and songs are not mere traditions, but vibrational patterns encoded in your genetic memory? What if your own words, spoken with sufficient force and purity of intention, resonate with this archive, awakening dormant codes of power or healing? You are a walking library of the gods, and your language is the scanner that reads and activates ancient scrolls. Practical ritual, activating inner Heka and weaving the web of reality. Do not rush to reject what follows, for even your skepticism is energy that can be channeled into the crucible of transformation. Here is a path that activates your inner priest of the word, a synthesis of ancient techniques adapted for a human in the labyrinth of the 21st century. This is not a game, it is the alchemy of spirit. Phase 0. The Great Emptying. 7 days. Goal. Purify the speech channel of mental noise. Restore sensitivity to the power of sound. Practice. External and internal silence. Speak only the absolutely necessary, briefly, weighing each word as an alchemist weighs the philosopher's stone. Reduce consumption of others' speech, media, idle chatter. Observe your inner dialogue. Do not suppress it, but detach yourself from its flow. Become the observer of words. Experience. You will feel silence cease to be empty. It fills with whispers of unborn worlds, the pressure of unspoken truths. Discomfort may arise. This is the slag being released. Silence is the crystallizer of intention. Phase 1. Awakening the Triad Morning Practice. 21 days goal. Synchronize seal knowledge, intention, Hu word, and Heka power, manifestation within you. Place time, dawn, face east. Sunlight is the physical analog of creative force. Practice. Sial contemplation of intention. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Enter a state of silent presence. Formulate in your heart, not mind, one pure, positive intention for the day, e.g., I abide in clarity and calm. I am open to the flow of abundance. Hold the feeling of this state, not the words. 7 deep breaths. Hu vibrating word. Open your eyes. Look at the rising sun or imagine its light in your heart center. Loudly, clearly, with full awareness, speak your intention as an affirmation in the present tense. Not, I want, but I am. Repeat 7 times. Track the vibration of your voice. Feel it resonate in your chest, head, entire body. Your body is a temple. Your voice a bell. Heka anchoring in action. Perform one simple, conscious physical action symbolizing your intention. For clarity, wash your face with cold water. For abundance, plant a seed or generously feed birds. For love, sincerely smile at your reflection. This action is the seal of Heka, materializing the word in motion. Symbol: visualize a radiant Ouroboros encircling your body during practice. On inhale, Sial, light draws into your heart. On speaking Hu, it pours out through your voice. On action Heka, it closes into a ring around the perfected act. Phase 2, serpentine dialogue and a weave of reality. Evening practice, ongoing goal. Learn to conduct inner dialogue as a creative act, transcending linear logic. Practice, logical question left brain. Pose a deep, provocative question about your life, reality, or obstacle. Why do I afraid of X? What does this situation conceal? What's the next step? Formulate it sharply. Silence and waiting. Don't seek answers with the mind. Sink into silence. Let the question drown in depth. Intuitive answer, right brain. Listen. The answer will emerge not as a logical chain, but as an image, feeling, metaphor, sudden word, memory, or impulse. Write it down without analysis. It may seem nonsensical, accept it. Shadow is a door. Swim against the current of light. The sound Om in my left palm. Reflection. Later, in a journal, decode this intuitive code. How does the metaphor address the question? What practical step or perceptual shift does it suggest? Here, Ouroboros manifests as a dialogue between the rational serpent's head and irrational tail, where one's end is the other's beginning, birthing new understanding. Phase 3, neuroalchemy and light spheres advanced, with sufficient channel purity. Directed use of sound to transform inner states and influence subtle planes. Practice. Focus. Identify an aspect of yourself or situation needing transformation: fear, block, painful sensation, desire. Creating light sphere. In your imagination, form a radiant image of a sphere of pure, bright light before you color by intuition. Golden power, radiant transformation. Charging with syllable. Create a short, powerful, nonsensical word mantra syllable born of intuition, resonating with your intention, for example, Ron, Kirill, Felis. Speak it loudly, rhythmically 7, 9, or 12 times, directing the sound and vibration into the light sphere. Fill the sphere with the power of sound and intent. Sealing and release. Clearly visualize the target. Yourself, a situation, space. Mentally, shoot the image of the sphere, charged with your syllable, toward the target. Imagine it dissolving, releasing transformative energy. Warning: this practice requires crystalline purity of intention and emotional balance. Dark thoughts breed dark spheres. Responsibility is the price of power. Practice. Phase 4. Programming the lunar month 29.5 days. Goal: test the power of words in the material world with a specific, small, but meaningful desire. Practice. Selection. Choose one simple, clear, positive desire not directly involving others against their will, for example. Find a lost item X, receive an unexpected sum Y, gain clarity in decision Z. Formulation. Craft a short, potent affirmation in the present tense, charged with emotion. I'm joyful having found X. I gratefully accept the flow of Y. I clearly see the path in Z and act confidently. Ritual. Daily, ideally at the same time, speak the affirmation 7 times, not mechanically. Enter the feeling as if the desire is already fulfilled. Feel the joy, relief, gratitude. Unite CL feeling, Hu word, Heka energy of belief. Can combine with phase 1. Observation and trust. Keep a journal. Note signs, synchronicities, small steps. Don't cling to the outcome. Cling to the creative process. The serpent biting its head will manifest. Energy invested in words returns as transformed experience. Is this spiritual anarchy or the supreme discipline of a creator? Practice, and the answer will unfold in your altered reality. Remember, words spoken in a state of full presence and pure intention are not descriptions. They are instructions sent to the weavers of fate. Prophecy. The coming Logos and the return of the serpent. Are we not standing on the threshold of an epoch when humanity, having passed through the crucible of technocracy, will rediscover at a new level the lost language of gods? Signs, like cracks in the old reality, already gape. Artificial intelligence and linguistics. Neural networks, LLMs, are learning not just process text, but to capture nuances of intention, context, and emotion behind words. They become mirrors of our collective unconscious, decoders of patterns. Future AI may become tools for modeling reality through complex linguistic constructs, almost like digital theurgists. But who will program them? Neurointerfaces BCI. Technologies enabling thought-based control of devices, communication, creation. This is a direct path to inner speech CLHU, becoming immediate action Heka, bypassing physical voice. We're learning to speak words with the brain. Will the next step be direct matter formation by thought? Quantum computers. Machines operating on superposition multiple states at once, an entanglement instantaneous connection. Is this not the materialization of ancient notions of a unified field Sial and instant action at a distance? Heka? Their language, probabilistic language of probabilities and states echo states, resonates with the language of mystics. Epigenetics and psychoneuroimmunology. Science increasingly shows our thoughts, words, and beliefs, especially deeply rooted ones, directly affect biology, health, longevity. The ancient magic of healing word is gaining lab confirmation. The serpent biting its tail spins a new coil with force. Technology becomes a conduit. Science opens the door to mysticism. The future demands a return to ancestral wisdom, armed with knowledge. New children, crystalline, indigo, often emerge with an intuitive rejection of false words, a sensitivity to speech vibrations, an understanding that a word is an act of creation or destruction. They are the vanguard of the coming Logos. But be vigilant, for with power comes the shadow. One who masters the language of gods without the wisdom of the heart Sial becomes a dangerous puppeteer of reality. Their words may build golden cities or sow plague in minds. Ethics of intention becomes a matter of species survival. Every spoken word will echo across all levels of existence. Every silence will condense darkness or draw light. What if tomorrow you wake and find the pattern on your wallpaper exactly mirrors your nightmare from yesterday's nightmare? What if a casual phrase flung in anger sparks a chain of absurd coincidences? What if a prayer, torn from the depths of despair, dissolves a stone wall in your life? This is not a hallucination. It's a prophecy written on the walls of your perception. Ouroboros completes its cycle. The primordial Logos, once distorted and forgotten, returns not as religion, but as a conscious technology of spirit. accessible to all who dare accept a creator's responsibility. And you're reading these lines here, and now you are no longer a spectator. You are a co-conspirator in the great return. Every word you speak, every restrained whisper, every act of pure silence is a brick in the edifice of a new reality. Recall the revelation echoing through all ages. In the beginning was the Word. Yet uncover the secret. At the end of the cycle, it will not be silence, but an enlightened word, knowing itself. Between this beginning and that enlightened end lies a boundless battlefield and garden of creation, where you are both sower, reaper, and soil. Silence is pregnant with eternity. Your word is the midwife of worlds. What child will you choose to birth today?